All right, let's go straight to the gist. My people, what is happening right now between Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, and the Nigerian police is causing a lot of serious talk across the country. The lawyer is not keeping quiet at all. He came out strongly to condemn what he called executive rascality. That word simply means when those in power use their position in a reckless or abusive way. He said the protest that happened recently in Abuja was never directed at the court. It was directed at the presidency because, according to him, the executive arm of government is the one keeping Nnamdi Kanu in detention, despite court rulings that favored his release. Before we go deeper, please, if you are watching this, make sure you like this video right now and subscribe to the channel because we always bring you balanced and respectful updates like this one. Now, what really happened? A few days ago, many supporters of Nnamdi Kanu gathered in Abuja under the Each Free Nnamdi Kanu Now movement. They were demanding the release of their leader, who has been in detention for a long time. Everything started peacefully. People were holding placards, chanting for freedom, and calling for justice. But before long, the Nigerian police showed up in full force. They blocked some roads, used their vans to stop movement, and then tear gas started flying. According to eyewitnesses and even the lawyer himself, people started running in confusion. Many were coughing and struggling to breathe. Some of the protesters were arrested on the spot. Barrister Aloy Ejimakor was among those arrested. He later described what happened as inhuman and unlawful. He said that the police used too much force, that they fired tear gas at very close range, and that some people almost fainted because of the smoke. He said even after they were arrested and taken to the police station, tear gas was still used again to push them into the vehicle. Can you imagine that? He said it was unnecessary and cruel. My people, please, if you are still watching, help me like this video and also subscribe so you can always get the next updates immediately they drop. Now, Ejimakor made something very clear. He said the protest was never against the court or the judges. According to him, the protest was directed at the presidency because it is the executive arm that has the power to end this case if it wants. He reminded everyone that in law, the executive, through the Attorney General, can issue what is called nolle prosequi. That simply means the government can decide to stop a case and withdraw its interest. Once that is done, the court can no longer continue to try the person. So in his view, the protest was to tell the president to use the power and release Nnamdi Kanu. But instead of listening, the police reacted harshly. He said what they did was pure executive rascality, a big insult to democracy and the rule of law. He said the police should have respected their right to peaceful protest, especially when the matter is about justice. He even said that if not for the strong lungs of those arrested, some could have died that day. That's how serious it was. Again, please take 1 second and like this video, and don't forget to subscribe because more updates are still coming on this case. After the arrest, they were taken to a magistrate court in Kuje, and the court remanded Ejimakor, Nnamdi Kanu's brother, and about 10 others in prison custody. That move caused even more outrage because many Nigerians felt it was unfair. They asked why peaceful protesters should be treated like criminals. The police said they were enforcing a court order that had earlier stopped protests around sensitive areas like the presidency and the National Assembly. But the protesters said they never blocked the villa or caused violence, that they were only expressing their frustration over how the government is handling Kanu's case. Let's think about it for a moment. Why are protests in Nigeria always turning into chaos? Is it that people do not have the right to express themselves again? Or is it that the government does not know how to handle peaceful gatherings without violence? These are questions we all need to ask, because what happened to Ejimakor and those protesters shows that there is still a long way to go when it comes to respecting freedom of speech and the right to protest. My people, I hope you are still with me. Please like this video right now and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and keeps you updated with all the trending news. Ejimakor said something again that touched many Nigerians. He said the level of force used on that day shows that the authorities do not want citizens to question power. He said this is not just about Nnamdi Kanu, it's about the bigger picture. the right of every Nigerian to speak up without fear. According to him, democracy is dying slowly if citizens cannot demand accountability from those in government. He promised to take legal action against the police and to make sure that justice is served. He said the law will not allow such abuse to go unpunished. Now, let's look at the other side, because we must always hear both sides. The police said they were only doing their job. They said they had received intelligence that some groups were planning to cause trouble under the cover of protest, and that's why they intervened. They said the protesters ignored the existing court order and blocked some major roads. According to the police, they used only the necessary force to restore order. They also said those arrested will face charges like criminal conspiracy and inciting disturbance. But the question remains, were they really disturbing peace or just exercising their rights? If you think about it, this whole matter shows how delicate Nigeria's democracy still is. When government institutions start using force, instead of dialogue, it creates fear among citizens. Many people are now saying that this was a clear message from the government, that anyone who speaks too loud might be silenced. Others believe that the police were simply following orders from above. That's why Ejimakor used the phrase executive rascality. He believes the police were acting not on law, but on political instructions. My people, what do you think about that? Do you agree with him or with the police? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because your engagement really helps. If we check history, this kind of thing has happened before. Peaceful protesters end up facing tear gas and arrests. We saw it during the Kamas and SARS movement, and even before that with many student and labor protests. It has become a pattern. The moment people gather to speak their mind, security agents move in with force. That is why many human rights groups are calling for reform in how protests are handled. They say security agencies must be trained to protect protesters, not attack them. And that's exactly what Ejimakor is saying, that it is time for Nigeria to start respecting its own constitution. He said the whole thing is a test for Nigeria's democracy. Will citizens continue to live in fear, or will they be free to question authority? He also pointed out that this fight is not just legal, it's moral. If the government ignores court rulings and continues to hold someone after the court says release him, then what message are we sending to the world? That's why the lawyer is insisting the presidency must act with fairness and follow the law. He went further to warn that if leaders keep ignoring the rule of law, it will lead to more unrest and mistrust. He said no nation can grow if its people are afraid to talk. He also called on civil society, religious leaders, and the media to speak up and demand justice. According to him, silence is dangerous because once citizens stop speaking, those in power can't do anything without accountability. Now, what's next? Ejimakor and the others have been remanded, but lawyers and activists are already planning to challenge it. They want to show that what happened that day was not a crime, but an act of courage. They want to prove that peaceful protest is not an offense in any democratic society. If the courts handle this matter fairly, it could set a big example for the future. It could show that the voice of the people still matters. My people, this whole issue also raises questions about leadership and responsibility. The presidency needs to show maturity in handling sensitive cases like this. When people feel that government decisions are unfair, the right thing is to listen, not to use force. Nigeria needs leaders who can balance power with compassion, because every time a peaceful protest is suppressed, it pushes the nation backward. So as citizens, we must continue to call for dialogue, not division. And as for the police, they must remember that their duty is to protect life and property, not to intimidate citizens. They must serve the people with respect, because without public trust, policing becomes impossible. The court too has a big role to play to make sure that no one is punished unjustly. This is why cases like this are so important, because they shape the way future cases will be handled. Before I round up this gist, I want to remind you again, please like this video and subscribe to the channel right now if you haven't. We bring you verified updates, no fake stories, only truth told with respect. If you like the way we break down stories, show some love by liking and commenting. It really motivates us to keep going. So in summary, what happened between Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer and the Nigerian police is not just about one arrest. It's about the bigger issue of power and justice in Nigeria. It's about the right of citizens to speak up, the duty of police to protect, and the responsibility of leaders to listen. Ejimakor has vowed to keep fighting legally, and Nigerians are watching closely to see how this story unfolds. Will the government choose dialogue or continue to use force? Time will tell. And that's the full gist for now. The situation is still developing, and as soon as there's a new update, we'll bring it right here to you. So my people, before you go, don't forget, like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next one.
Your experience, considering the fact that we're actually living in denial, thinking you'll be released on the day you were arrested. And what has this experience actually taught you?
Well, this experience is traumatic. Quite speaking honestly, it's traumatic for me. It's traumatic for my colleagues, everybody. If you say it isn't, then you are in denial. Traumatic in the sense of the manner of the arrest. It was very brutal, too confrontational. People who were cooperating with the police were being shoved around, being beaten up. Some of them sustained injuries. Tear gas canisters were deployed directly at most of us. Two had impact on me, and in fact, if we didn't have strong lungs, some of us would have given up the ghost on the spot. I don't think that type of brutality has a place in a well-ordered modern society. This is the type of thing that we need to do away with in Nigeria. Even at the police headquarters, CID, Gariki, the command, they deployed canisters, several canisters of tear gas just to get us to bundle us into vehicles that will take us to abattoir. He didn't need to do that because we were already under your control. So that's something that is abhorrible and should be condemned by all and sundry. It is not good, it's unlawful, it's brigandage, and it is executive rascality in high places.
Okay.